Good morning, friends. Today we'll discuss the glazing and loading of the grinding wheel. And these two process is nothing but some drawbacks of the grinding wheel which occurs due to the continuous use of the grinding wheel. Let us discuss first glazing. What is a glazing? After continuous use of grinding wheel, the sharp cutting points of the abrasive grains becomes dull. Means these sharp cutting edge of the abrasive particles are dull after the use of grinding wheel. Let us shown in the diagram. This is a rounded shape of the abrasive particles are connected with each other by using the black material is called as a bond. By using the bonding process, the two abrasive particles are continuous in contact with each other, and it is held properly in some distance. Means there is some gap is provided between two abrasive particles by using the bond. And this grinding wheel is rotated in some specific speed, and it is in contact with the surface of the work. Means the grinding wheel is rotated in some speed, and the grinding wheel is fed against the work, and the cutting edge of the abrasive particles are come in contact with the surface of the work, and you have to remove the material from the workpieces by using the sharp cutting edge of the abrasive particles. And after the more use, these sharp cutting edge of the abrasive particles becomes a wear out, and due to the wearing of the abrasive particles, the surface becomes a smooth. Which is shown in a dotted line is nothing but the after wearing of the cutting edge of the abrasive particles, it becomes a worn out, and which is shown in a dotted lines. It means they lose their cutting ability. After wear out, it cannot cut the material. They are lose their cutting ability and sharpness and severely worn out. Hence the wheel face becomes smooth and provide a rubbing action. And such phenomenon which renders wheel unuseful called glazing of the grinding wheel. It's like a glass-like appearance, and it cannot used or useful for removing the material due to the wear out. It is very smooth as like a glass-like appearance. It is a condition of the grinding wheel in which the cutting edge or face of the wheel takes a glass-like appearance, and this glass-like appearance of the wheel becomes reconditioned by using the dresser tool, and the dresser tool is used for again recondition the grinding wheel. Means these dull material around the periphery of the grinding wheel are removed by using the dresser tool and recondition the grinding wheel again. So that phenomena is called as a glazing. The second one is called as a loading. What is the loading? During the operation of wheel, cut particles of workpiece material adhere to the face of the wheel, and these particles occupy open space between the cutting points. Is shown in the diagram. There are two abrasive particles, and in between the two abrasive particles are connected by using the bonding material. The black color indicates the bond material, and there is some spacing is provided between the two abrasive particles. And in the space is provided between the two abrasive particles, the material removed from the work are fed off continuously the space provided between the two particles. The feeding of the material are removed from the work between the two space provided between two abrasive particles, and that phenomenon is nothing but the loading of the particles. And due to the loading of the particles continuously between the space provided between two cutting edge or two abrasive particles, and the phenomenon is called as a loading. And due to the loading, the outer surface of the grinding wheel becomes a smooth, and due to this sharpness of the cutting point is lost due to loading or continuously loading of the material which is removed from the work. The sharpness ability of the cutting point is lost, and face becomes a smooth, and it reduces the cutting ability of the wheel, and this phenomenon is called as a loading of the wheel. And it may also take place very deep cut are taken by not using the right type of coolant. Basically, there is some space provided between two abrasive particles, and in between the two abrasive particles the material are removed from the work or load is continuously fed off, and the fill up the gap between two abrasive particles, and whole grinding wheel becomes smooth. And if the grinding wheel becomes smooth, the sharp cutting edge becomes a dull, and it's lost their cutting ability. And due to the loss of cutting ability of the wheel, its rubbing action will take place. It cannot remove the material from the work, and that phenomenon is called as a loading of the grinding wheel. And basically this phenomenon occurs because of the proper coolant is not provided, and not it's also take a very deep cut and remove a large amount of stock. This phenomenon occurs in a grinding wheel, and that process is called as a loading. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.